The Atlanta Hawks lost at New York in game one, and the Minnesota Timberwolves lost game one at Denver. Should we come back with those two teams in game two? Should we follow the zigzag theory? Well, we'll talk about that in this video. Back when I started betting the NBA playoffs, the iPhone had yet to be invented. They did have the internet, but nobody really used it back then. The zigzag theory actually worked pretty good back then, but it doesn't work anymore, and I'll tell you why. Let's start with the New York Knicks, a 5.5-point favorite in game two, right where they were in game one. The total's up a little bit to 217.5. It was 216.5 in game one. I gave you the under. The Knicks won that game by a score of 113-102. The Hawks trailed by 6 points after the first quarter. They closed the gap. They were down by 2 at halftime, but they trailed by 9 heading into the third quarter. CJ McCollum led Atlanta in scoring with 26 points on 11 of 20 shooting. And McCollum got into it a bit with Jalen Brunson. A quote after the game, "I shot a jump shot, and Jalen Brunson thought he was at a Broadway show." And what he's referring to is Brunson perhaps faking an injury or at least embellishing an injury that wasn't as bad as he made it look. And Brunson has been known to do that in the past. Coach Quinn Snyder said they wanted to stop Karl Anthony Towns, and they did do a good job in the first half, holding him to just 6 points. He was scoreless in the first quarter, but Towns ended up with 25 points. Jalen Brunson cooked them from start to finish, and the Hawks have some adjustments to make heading into the second game of the series. But should we take the points and go with the zigzag theory? Nah, that doesn't work anymore, ladies and gentlemen. It hasn't worked for quite some time. But there are some variations of the zigzag theory that I like, and we'll talk about some of that. And why did it work in the past? Well, in the past, people didn't have access to the internet like they do now. The statistical analysis was lacking back then. Most sports bettors were working out of a box score and a newspaper, magazines, sports talk radio. That was the peak of information back in those days. And when the whole world watched on national television a team get their butts kicked in game one, the bookmakers knew that nobody was going to come back with that team in the second game of the series. So you ended up getting inflated lines, which would allow you to profit with the zigzag theory. That doesn't happen anymore. Even the squares are sharp these days with all the information available. So no zigzag theory for me, but there are some variations, and we'll talk about that. Jalen Brunson scored 28 points on 9 of 22 shooting in game one, 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. And the Knicks shot 48% from the field, 48% from three-point range. And perhaps we could expect some regression. I wouldn't expect New York to continue to hit 48% from beyond the arc. If you look at history, last year in the first round against the Detroit Pistons, the Knicks win game one. And then in game two, after the first quarter, the Knicks were trailing 25-18. And then they won the first two games against Boston in the second round. And the first quarter in game two, after they won game one, Boston led 24-13. I saw the Knicks in the press conference. I saw Jalen Brunson yakking it up. They were having a great time. This team is not worried. This team thinks they got these guys. I think the Hawks are going to come out hard. I can't say the same about the Knicks. I think the best bet is going to be taking the points with the Hawks in the first quarter, but don't call it the zigzag theory. Let's get into the second game. Before we get into the second game, though, let me tell you about some promotions we have available at WagerTalk for the summer. I think you're going to like these ones. You might have heard this before, but we got a summer spectacular, $594 in savings. $749 gets you every single play in every sport from today through August 31st. And this is from any handicapper of your choice. Your choice should be this guy right here, though, because I am the #1 MLB handicapper with big plays since 2022. I'm on a 10-1 run with client plays coming off a massive weekend. I believe we're now 12-2 with our NBA plays, our last 14 NBA plays. And baseball, we're getting it done. How about the NBA playoffs? For those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, at Jesse Schule, check it out. This article that I'm sharing on the screen, this details my success in the NBA playoffs before I arrived at WagerTalk. But since at WagerTalk, my career record in the NBA playoffs is 202, 158 for a profit of 64 units. We make money almost every year with the NBA playoffs, very consistent profits. You can check it out on the site. In addition to that, I cover college football, week 0 and week 1. I've done every single game on this channel the last 2 seasons. We're going to do that again this July. If you were to get this summer spectacular package, it would include some college football. We got the NHL playoffs, which I'm doing quite well with that as well. But how about the World Cup? Don't overlook the World Cup. That starts in June. I was the #1 profit handicapper on WagerTalk last year, not last year, but the last World Cup, 15-6, 71%. That was no fluke. I'm the #2 all-time soccer handicapper on the site. And I'm joined by my man, Ben Burns. I'm sure you know who that guy is. He's just the #1 all-time big play handicapper in the sport of soccer. 100% perfect with his 5% plays. Guarantee you he's going to have some of those for the World Cup. You can get us both for $299. That's every soccer play from today until the end of the World Cup. I hit one yesterday with Nottingham Forest, by the way. And you can only find this, though, at picksandparlays.net, my page or Ben's page. Let's get back into the game. Let's talk about Minnesota and Denver and why we will not be taking the zigzag theory. So Minnesota lost game 1 by a score of 116 to 105. Minnesota was up 10 after the first quarter. The game was tied at halftime, and Minnesota was down a dozen after the third quarter. Anthony Edwards scored 22 points on 7 of 19 shooting. He did miss 5 of the Wolves' last 7 games of the regular season. That knee is still a bit of an issue for him. He's not at 100%. And the under is 6-3 in Minnesota's last 9 games at Denver. And if you look back to that 2024 series where Minnesota won in a game 7 coming from behind in the fourth quarter, both game 1 and game 2, very low scoring games in that series, 106 to 99, 106 to 80. And of course, that was Minnesota sweeping the series, those first 2 games in Denver. Yeah, I don't think Minnesota's going to win this game, though. I'm not coming back with Minnesota. The Nuggets really struggled early on in game 1. I don't think they're going to come out flat here after struggling early on in game 1. Joker scored 25 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists in 40 minutes in game 1. Jamal Murray had 30 points, 0 of 8 from beyond the arc, 7 of 22 from the field. Murray didn't shoot the ball well, but he ended up with a lot of points. Denver shot 44% from the field, 28% from beyond the arc, 30 of 33 at the free throw line. Total sits at 232, and that looks like a big number, but I'm not touching the under because I just think we're going to see these guys hit more shots in game 2. If I want to play this game, I'm probably looking at Joker's points over 25.5, over 28.5 points. I know he didn't score a lot in game 1. I tend to think he's going to be more of a scorer in game 2. And Anthony Edwards, his 3-point makes, I like Anthony Edwards under his 3-point makes for this game. If you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. And if you've got anything to say to me, even if it's nasty, hit me up in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.